That was a lot better tonight. I mean, if you can beat Real Betis at the week in the midweek, you really should have beat Southampton. So yeah, at least we've won. Hey guys, good evening. Welcome back to the channel, United Red Devils 20 on YouTube. How is everyone doing this Thursday evening? Hope everyone's had a good Thursday evening so far. Hope everyone's looking forward to the end of this week. I hope everyone's looking forward to another brand new weekend in March 2023. First of all, do me a massive favour for me, hit the like button, hit the share button, hit the subscribe button if you're new to the channel. That is United Red Devils 20 on YouTube. Please subscribe to the channel and the community if you are new. Remember to share the video, hit the tweet button, hit the retweet button, and always remember to put that notification bell on all times to receive dedicated content right throughout the rest of 2023 on United Red Devils 20 on YouTube for more Fortnite content, Hogwarts Legacy, Kingdom Hearts 4 as well, FIFA 23 Career Mode, the new Formula 1 game, and much more brand stuff planned for 2023 on United Red Devils 20 on YouTube. So please subscribe if you're new. And welcome to the reaction. This is your UEFA Europa League last 16 second leg match reaction to Manchester United's 1-0 away win against Real Betis in the UEFA Europa League last 16 stages this evening. In the second leg of the competition, Manchester United are through to the UEFA Europa League quarterfinals this season, in which probably now is a massive boost and a massive impact of positivity and confidence for these players to get into the quarterfinals of the Europa League. I thought Manchester United did deserve the win today. I felt like in the second half, Manchester United were the better team. And I feel like in the second half, Man United took the game to Real Betis. The game was basically done anyway. I felt like, in my opinion, Man United knew they would go through. I do feel like, in my opinion, they also knew they would win the game. And I do feel like, they were given a right kick up the backside in the second half. And I think Ten Hag demanded a reaction from the first half, because I do think, in my opinion, Real Betis were the better team. They were creating more of the better chances. I felt like we gave too much respect to Real Betis in the first half, and that is why I think, Betis came out and actually fought against Manchester United in that first half. But in my opinion, I do feel like we deserve our place in Europa League quarterfinals. I do feel like now with this win tonight, it's going to boost the players' confidence, the mentality, and the stability of this football club going forward till the end of the season in May. And I do feel like now we are going to be the favourites to win the UEFA Europa League. I can't see anyone else really competing with Manchester United for the Europa League crown. And I do feel like we are going to be the favourites to lift that crown become May at the end of the season. And I feel like, as Man United as a whole, we do deserve our place tonight. I do feel like we do deserve the win in the second half. I just wish Manchester United, the only criticism I would say, I wish we were a bit more impactful in front of the opposition goal. I do feel like we should have gone with a full strength 11 tonight. I still question why some of those players were given an opportunity to play in the Man United shirt tonight. For me, I really thought we would go full strength. I couldn't really see Erik ten Hag making a lot of changes from the game against Southampton from Sunday to the game tonight. And I do feel like, it did backfire in some stages of the second half. I do feel like defensively at the end, in the last 10 to 15 minutes, I do feel like we gave a bit too much respect to Real Betis to let them attack us to get an equalising goal, which would have made no impact on the result or the aggregate score that Real Betis were down on. So I do feel like Man United tonight have gotten away with one. I do feel like tonight, the amount of chances we did have in that second half was quite frankly unbelievable. I mean, the amount of chances Marcus Rashford has had one-on-one with the goalkeeper. Sabitzer really should have scored as well. I do feel like Palestri would have got a goal as well. I feel like in the second half, when the changes were made, the tempo of the game seemed to went down, in my opinion. And I do feel like as a whole that United could have been a lot better than what they were. And in my opinion, I think we're quite lucky to be in the Europa League quarterfinals, because I didn't expect this season to even be anywhere near this season. I didn't expect Manchester United to actually be in Europa League quarterfinals at all. I expected really to be going out of the group stage, but I felt like we should have won our group anyway. But in my opinion, really, we're lucky tonight. I think Manchester United can count themselves very lucky that, Rashford found the response and he found the goal that, got United over the line tonight. And we could have been a bit better. I feel like, in my opinion, United really could have had more opportunities to put the ball in the net. The game was basically there in the second half for Manchester United to take the result and to beat Real Betis. But I think as a whole, I think Man United are going to be happy. I think Ten Hag is going to be happy with the team he went with. And I do feel like in the second half, he made the changes at the right time for the second half to drain Real Betis' energy out of the second half. And as soon as Rashford has put Manchester United 1-0 up, I do feel like Betis knew the game was up. They knew the result was gone, and basically knew that they weren't coming back from this. And I do feel like as a whole, Betis knew the game was up. They knew they weren't going to find a comeback. They knew they weren't going to find a goal from anywhere. And I think Betis have missed a massive, massive opportunity tonight to put a few goals past Manchester United. I feel like most of their impactful players in their team from the league of the season, how they're not featuring in Europa League, maybe they are settled more on their league form than Europa League. Maybe Real Betis knew as soon as you lose 4-1 in the first leg, you basically know and you're not coming back from the second leg. You know you're not going to win. You know you're not going to get the goals, and you know you're not going to get the result to beat Manchester United. And I mean, it would have been a completely different game, I think, if Real Betis had a full fit squad and they had Fekir available. Fekir is Real Betis' best player by a mile. And I do feel like, in my opinion, if Fekir was playing tonight, I do feel like Manchester United would have been caused a lot of issues. And I do feel like as a whole, if he would have been in that team, Manchester United, I think, would have struggled tonight. And I do feel like, in my opinion, we wouldn't have got over the line. But, we're in Europa League quarterfinals now. What does this mean for the rest of the season? Well, we can still win another 2 trophies. We can still win the FA Cup. We can still win the Europa League. Obviously, the Premier League is completely out of phase now. There's no chance this football club is coming back and winning the Premier League. I think it's all hypothetical ifs and nos that, Manchester United are going to get a comeback, that we can go on and win the Premier League. And I do feel like, we're settling for the cup competitions now. I feel like Ten Hag has told his players, look, the league title ain't going to happen. We know that, we've got the FA Cup and Europa League still to fight for. We've won the Carabao Cup. And I think those players as a whole should be quite proud of themselves tonight. I do feel like we were the better team. The second half, it was a completely different Manchester United from the first half. I felt like Betis were actually quite frankly unlucky. I do feel like if they would have converted the chances they had in the first half, this game in the second half would have been a complete different kettle of fish. And I do feel like, in my opinion, they would have probably won the game. And the comeback probably would have been on for Betis. But, the Rashford goal is completely knocked the confidence and drained the energy out of them. That goal goes in, the Betis players' heads drop, and Betis know they're at Europa League. Their season now is basically over, and they're going to have to hope that they could qualify for Europe next season through their league campaign and finish well in the Liga. They're a very, very good team under Manuel Pellegrini. They've got some very, very good players. An ex-Man City reject manager who's basically managing a mid-table Spanish team. Real Betis can't compete with the teams like Man United. They haven't got the budget. They haven't got the players. And really, they haven't got the quality on and off the bench to really dent Manchester United. They didn't simply have anything in the energy tank left in that second half, because I feel like, in my opinion, Betis went full guns blazing in that first half. They basically kept attacking Manchester United, and basically it backfired. I feel like, Betis had the opportunities in front of goal. If they would have get them, Man United would have been on the back foot. The second half would have been a struggle. And then I do feel like then in the end, Manchester United would have gone out the Europa League. But we're in the quarterfinals now. We've got nothing to complain about. I just wish Man United were able to put teams away with the amount of chances we get through on goal. That's my only criticism I've got from tonight. The amount of chances this team had to absolutely bury Real Betis to make the result a more convincing one. I don't feel like 1-0 is very, very justified. I know we've won the game, but you've basically relied on Marcus Rashford yet again to get you the goal and basically get this team out of jail, get out of jail free card from the Monopoly board game. You've basically relied on Rashford again to get you out of trouble. And I do feel like as a whole, we can't keep relying on Marcus Rashford as a whole this season. Yes, he's our top goal scorer with 27 goals. And that's quite something to be as a Manchester United player. That is quite something for a player of Man United's calibre, Marcus Rashford, to bang 27 goals in. The whole point for me, in my opinion, is if Manchester United would have had better players, I do feel like, in my opinion, tonight, we would have won that game a lot more. And that game looked like a 4-5-0 result. It really, really did. And I felt like, in my opinion, if we would have won the game more, I feel like Eric Ten Hag could have taken a load of positives out of this game tonight and basically was able to then rotate the team for Sunday. But I felt like Ten Hag played it well tonight. He knew he was going to go with a full-strength squad. And I feel like he knew when he said in his press conference that Fernandes, Casemiro and Rashford and Weghorst, they've all got to start because Manchester United simply do not have the options off the bench to be able to bring on in the second half. And I felt sorry for Ten Hag in some ways because, he's got a squad that is manageable till May. But when you've still got the likes of Donny van der Beek out for the rest of the season with an ACL injury, Eriksen's out till mid-April with an ankle injury, Anthony Martial is still out injured, Anthony is out through illness again. So I feel like Ten Hag's basically between a rock and a hard place. He's having to pick the same team week in, week out to play in every competition we're left in. Because of the squad we've got no squad depth, and I felt like tonight it really told. In the last 15 minutes, I think Man United did give up. I felt like they knew the game was on and they knew Real Betis were not going to find a comeback, but we shouldn't have took our foot off the pedal. We should have gone full guns blazing in the second half. As soon as we got that first goal, the amount of chances we had after that were quite frankly unbelievable, and I don't know what it was to do with tonight. I just felt like as a holder, Manchester United really should have found more of a response to the first goal. I felt like Man United knew that first goal was enough to be able to get them over the line. But in my opinion, if Real Betis would have found an equaliser and then found another 2 or 3 goals after that, we might have been in a spot of bother. We might be sat here in extra time. It could have gone to penalties. But luckily, the job was done in the second half of the first leg at Old Trafford when we absolutely ripped Real Betis apart. Winning 4-1 was a big, massive understatement. I felt like tonight, I felt like as a whole that, we should have gone and banged them a bit more. We should have gone and destroyed them and annihilated them. I felt like, really, in my opinion, we should have gone for the jugular. We should have really put 6, 7, 8 goals past them because their back four was so weak. And the amount of chances this team had at Real Betis' defence and a goalkeeper, why we can't convert our chances, well, that's down to our forward line. I felt like as a whole, Marcus Rashford from the start, I felt like was trying to do the job on his own. It's a team game, Marcus. I know you want to find a goal and I want you to keep improving as your form as a player. But as a whole, it's a team game. There's no I in team. It's about playing as a team and winning the game well. But I just felt like I think Marcus Rashford's burning out. I really do think, as a whole. So I just felt like as a whole, I just felt like, it's a matter of being responsible and being reliable in front of goal. So I'm glad he's got the goal, but in some aspects, if we didn't take our chances in the first half and the second half, we could have massively rotated. And I felt like as a holder, there's players on that bench tonight who I think are massively unlucky not to be involved from the start tonight. I really couldn't understand why we're playing 2 CDMs in the midfield position. I couldn't understand why Weghorst was starting. And I really couldn't understand also why Maguire started either. I felt like, Maguire's been called up to the England squad. I mean, no disrespect to Harry Maguire. You're absolutely crap. A fridge can defend better than you. And I felt like as a whole tonight, Maguire's got no pace. He's got no agility. And that Real Betis front line were causing Maguire serious issues. And the 2 or 3 chances the Real Betis players had on Maguire, they were swarming past him like a pack of bees, pretending he's not even there. And Maguire was so vulnerable at the back. And it was like, why are we doing this to ourselves? Why are we doing this to the same old players given too many opportunities yet again? Getting an opportunity. If they're not good enough, don't play them. But yet again, that is down to probably the tactics Ten Hag knew. And Ten Hag knew deep down, this game's won. We're not going to lose. They're not going to come back from a 4-1 deficit on aggregate. And they also know that Real Betis will tire out in the second half. They know Real Betis were going to be exhausted, and they were. Real Betis took their foot off the gas after the first goal. But as soon as Man United got the first goal, why did you then let Real Betis attack you in the last 15 minutes? You really should have defended better and gone for the second goal. And I really disagree with some of those players who came off the bench played really well. I completely disagree. I feel like some of those players shouldn't even be in a Man United shirt. Like, no disrespect to their careers. Where are you going to get game time at Man United next season if the Qataris take over this football club? Because some of you players are going to be given a reality check in the summer when the Glazers are gone, and some of you players are going to be told, look, your future's up now. You're not going to be here next season. Don't expect anything of an appearance, even in a shirt, because you're going to be sold in the summer. And I can't understand why, Erik ten Hag is having to use half this squad. If half these players aren't good enough, they shouldn't even be the team. They really shouldn't even be selected as players. If they're not good enough, you get rid and you go for the juggler and you play your best team. week in, week out. And that's my opinion. I feel like if you are in a competition, you play your strongest team and you go for the juggler and you go for the good banging result that Manchester United are going to get. So I felt like that was a backward step towards the results. And I feel like, if players like Varane and Sabitzer and Sancho probably would have started, I do feel like, in my opinion, Manchester United would have found more goals. And I do feel like the front three could have been a lot better tonight. I don't understand why you can beat Real Betis tonight, but against Southampton on Sunday, you're down tools, you're down tooled under the manager again, and you couldn't even beat a team who's at rock bottom of the league, who can't even beat Brentford last night. So I feel like there's a positive and a negative from tonight's result. You can beat Real Betis knowing the game's up, but you can't beat Southampton at home. That does question my credibility towards that team and some of those players, because they cost us on Sunday, but they can turn up for tonight. It just doesn't make no sense. And you can't fully put the blame on Casemiro for the weekend result. Without Casemiro in that team, we are basically nothing. I think if Casemiro and Fernandes and Rashford and Martinez and Malacia didn't play tonight, I feel like Man United would have lost that game quite heavily. Because I feel like tonight, some of those players did step up. I feel like they knew that we did need a reaction from that poor result on Sunday by beating Betis tonight. And I mean, one goal was enough in the end to get this club over the line. But you do question if that Betis team had their full team available to them, what damage could they have done to Man United tonight? If they had players like Fekir available, they lost their main left back to Aston Villa in January. Real Betis have had a real unlucky start of players leaving and joining the club, because their injury record doesn't help them either. So Betis knew that they've got nothing to lose tonight. The mentality is we've got to go out there and give Manchester United a game. But they knew the game was up. They knew they're not going to come back from it. And that was the telling point from that game. They knew Man United were not going to lose this game. They knew they were going to find a goal somewhere. And then to win 5-1 on aggregate, that's our second biggest win this season overall as a football club. That's beating Nottingham Forest in the Carabao Cup semi-finals over 2 legs. And then that's beating Real Betis over 2 legs in Europa League last 16. That's our biggest deficit in both of those games by a mile. So, there's a lot of positives from tonight. I just feel like, Man United as a whole should do a lot better. I personally. But it's not a bad result. It's not a bad result at all. I'm just glad, this team has got over the line. And I'm just glad we're in the Europa League quarterfinals now, because we can go on and win this Europa League now. There's no reason why not this club cannot win the Europa League now. I don't have no respect for the other teams left in it. And I do feel like as a whole, we are the best team left in it. I feel like as a whole, Man United have got the better quality. We've got the better players, and I do feel like we've got the better manager to be able to take this club forward a lot more than what any other manager's done. I mean, Erik ten Hag has had to do so much of this team tonight to get the result we wanted, because the first half, United started the game well. Then Real Betis started to come back into it, and then Man United came back into it after that. But then we dominated the game and couldn't find a goal in the first half. I feel like if we would have went 2 goals up at half-time, Ten Hag could have rotated that team from the start and rotated half that team off and put half that squad depth off the bench in the first team in the second half. But Ten Hag knew they had to find a goal. He knew that, finishing 0-0 is going to do a lot of damage, because the pundits alike from Sky and BT would have been on him like a rash. If Man United wouldn't have won this game, the pundits tonight would have been on Ten Hag like a rash. It would have been such a bad rash. Every pundit would have been on him, because they knew Man United didn't win. They knew they didn't get the result, but they're still through to the quarterfinals Europa League. But I like what Ten Hag's doing. He's managing to be able to still get something out of some of these fringe players. I don't think half of them tonight who came off that bench are going to be at this club next season. I felt like the only decent player that came off that bench tonight as a whole was Marcel Sabitzer. And he's one of my 3 Man of the Match award recipients that get my Man of the Match tonight. Marcel Sabitzer has been a world-class addition to this Man United team since we signed from Bayern Munich on loan in the January transfer window. The impact he has had on that midfield tonight is second to none from Fred. Fred, again, as a whole tonight, is crap. First half, dreadful. Second half, even worse. And is still given game time to prove himself as a Manchester United player. If he's not good enough, why is he still getting selected? Is it because of his price tag? Is it because of the type of player he is? Does Ten Hag prefer him over McTominay? Does Erik Ten Hag prefer him over Sabitzer or McTominay? For me, as soon as Fred comes off, that midfield looks so much better and such more dynamic and much more trustworthy. Sabitzer came on, and the cameo we had in that second half is absolutely second to none. And I do feel like, in my opinion, that Sabitzer has been probably one of the signings of the January transfer window. I do feel like, in my opinion, he's made Manchester United a better team. He's made that midfield a lot stronger. He's an upgrade on Christian Eriksen. He's an upgrade on Donny van der Beek. He's had such a positive impact on this team from the start. And tonight, again, I saw what Sabitzer can do with this team. I saw what he can do with this midfield, and I saw the confidence in his game to be able to step it up where Fred and McTominay can't do it. And that is what I like about Ten Hag. He is trusting the right players now. But I still feel like Sabitzer does deserve much more game time than what he's getting. Yes, he has been very, very unlucky with injury. I completely agree. He has picked up a lot of injuries since he's been at this club. But tonight, if that's a fully fit Marcel Sabitzer, you don't need Fred anymore. You don't need McTominay because you've still got Eriksen and Donny van der Beek to return from injury. Sabitzer can do McTominay's and Fred job in a click of a finger. He dominates the midfield, he brings it under control, and he doesn't panic and make stupid little runs that he knows he's going to lose the ball from. Fred tonight takes on way too much. He runs the midfield like he's a god, and apparently he's got good control with the ball. Tonight, Fred has taken on too many Real Betis players. He puts in stupid tackles. He gives the ball away. He plays the ball badly to his teammates and can't make a decent run, shot, or cross into the box. That is the problem. Man United do not have a midfield dominance when Fred's in it. They don't have a midfield dominance when McTominay's in it. And that is the deep down lying issue this club has got. We are still trusting the wrong players to do a job for this manager. And the problem is, these players deep down know they got Rangnick sacked, they got Solskjaer sacked. And the problem is, the more chances these players get, the more bigger their egos are going to become. And I felt like tonight some of them were dreadful because you can't even give credentials or even ability that some of these players simply don't have it. Maguire is a liability at the back. Why he's been given back the captaincy is a joke. He's no captain, he's no leader, he is no role model, he is no inspiration. Get that armband off that bloody fridge and put him back on the bench where he belongs. He is not fucking good enough. Lindelof comes on. You're back to Magaluf, the trust that Rangnick and Solskjaer put both of them in. Both first team options and weren't good enough. And shout out to Cameron Clayton in the chat, who's a new moderator and a new subscriber to the channel. He's an absolute legend, by the way. And please subscribe to the channel if you're new people, by the way. Please subscribe. I just feel like, you can't trust Magaluf at the back. They are simply not good enough as a centre-back partnership. Why Varane is sat back on that bench again, who's a World Cup winning centre-back with Lisandro Martinez. You do not keep changing your centre-back partnership because it doesn't work. It will backfire very, very quickly. And it was showing tonight. The amount of chances Maguire had Betis players running at him is a bloody concern going forward with this football club. You do not use your fringe players anymore in this team. People say it's important to rotate, it's important to freshen this squad up. But the problem is, if you trust some of these players, and we know who they are, who got Rangnick and Solskjaer gone, they will down tools, they will cause the same problems, and they'll cause the same issues going forward for the future. Do you really want the same problems in that team coming back to haunt Ten Hag? No, you don't. You should be playing your strongest team week in, week out. And that is a big point for me going forward for the rest of the season. We need to start putting the trust in the right players going forward for the rest of the season. You put your strongest team in when you've got it. You do not put trust in players like Lindelof and Maguire. They ain't good enough. We move on then to right back. Wan-Bissaka tonight again, and this is a big, big problem I think this club's got. We don't know what to do with our left back position. Wan-Bissaka tonight was dreadful. I'm sorry, he is no right back. The last few games, he's been okay. He's not been brilliant. He's not been fantastic. But tonight, he hasn't got that typical right back feel that this club needs. He just hasn't got that right back appreciation that we need at right back. And I feel like as a whole, that is a big, big problem going forward because we can't get the ball forward. He keeps cutting back inside. He can't put a cross into the box. The only decent thing Wan-Bissaka's got, in my opinion, is his speed and his agility with and without the ball. That is the only feel thing, in my opinion, that Wan-Bissaka has got going forward. But the problem is the other bits of his right back positioning ain't good enough, and I've mentioned that. And then you're bringing players as a backup like Dalot on. Dalot ain't any good enough either, and they're on about giving Dalot and Wan-Bissaka new contracts for next season. They ain't good enough. That is not the problem. That is a big problem that is going to cost this club badly. We need a world-class right back in both positions. We need 2 world-class right backs at Manchester United. We don't have those right backs. We don't have the players that we need for that position. We need a right back like Hakimi. That is a type of right back this club will need. That is the big, big problem I think this club has got going forward. This is why we don't get the ball into the box, because Dalot and Wan-Bissaka in their game, they don't have it. That is my big, big issue this club's got. We don't have right backs that can do a job in 90 minutes. That is my big issue this club has got going forward till May. And then you've got Weghorst, and then you've got Sancho. Weghorst again tonight shows, I'm sorry, Weghorst tonight has shown again, this signing has been absolutely pathetic. This signing of Weghorst has been a joke all season long. Since that January transfer window shut, we have been bantered for signing Weghorst. We are having teams and rivals take the piss out this football club for going near players like Weghorst. What did he do tonight in front of goal? Did he put the ball in the net? Can he pass the ball? Is he a goal scoring threat? Can he hold the ball up? One simple answer for all 4 of those problems: no. He doesn't have it in his game to do it week in, week out. That is the problem with Weghorst. 2 goals in nearly 11 matches for this football club. And apparently that was the striking option to get the goals we need for Martial's absence. Well, tonight it showed, again, there is no consistency in Weghorst's game. There is no consistency. He can do it every now and again. Long term, no. That is a Burnley signing at best, who they let go because he was crap for 2 goals in 20 appearances for the club. They let him go because they knew when they were relegated from the Premier League, that was the problem going forward. They got rid of him. And no disrespect, the Turkish Super League is very different from the Premier League. Europa League, he can't do it. And then we move on to Jadon Sancho. Has this guy got a long-term future at this football club? Realistically. Because Sancho has come on again tonight off the bench and shown nothing. I don't know what is up with Sancho's game. I don't know what is up with his confidence. And I don't know where that world-class performance he went with at Leicester at home in the league and we won 3-0. That player has gone since then again. Sancho cannot do it at the top of his game. We are not seeing the type of form that he performed at Borussia Dortmund. That is a worry, knowing we splashed 75 million on him. 75 million we spent on Jadon Sancho, and he came on in that second half and did fuck all. That is not good enough from a right winger and a left winger. Does nothing that brings on confidence and mentality and strength. If he can't score a goal, and he can't take on 2 or 3 decent players, this club's in trouble. Because without Anthony, it's bad enough. Because Anthony, yet again, is out through illness and injury. You're basically left with Sancho and Elanga as the backups, because Marcel is also Mr. Injury Prone. I can't keep myself fit all the time. What is Ten Hag meant to do with those options off the bench? Elanga, dreadful again tonight, was teacher's pet FC under Ralph Ragnick, was given an opportunity to prove himself in front of goal. Can't take people on, can't put a decent cross into the box, can't pass the ball, and apparently we're sending this kid out on loan so he can be a talent for the future. Well, I'm sorry, deep down looking at Elanga tonight, there is no future in that. I'm sorry, he can't do a job that Ten Hag wants. Why should the club keep him long term? Why should this club keep him as a player? He is never ever going to be good enough. And that is another issue this club has got right in front of their own very eyes. Why can't this club realise the amount of crap dead wood we have got in this team? If you keep after this dead wood next season, if the Qataris take over in the summer, we're going to be screwed, because we are going to get found out for being a liability, and reliability will not be in that team. It's like a car. If it fails the MOT and it's got advisories on the MOT certificate, you know you've got to have to get that work done, right? It comes to the next MOT. You still not had the advisories done, and half the stuff it failed the MOT on, you've not got done either. You know that car is going to fail the MOT for the second time. And that is my point. That's my point. That's like watching some of these players. And Cameron's put in the chat, right, let's get this straight. Not everyone can have A games all the time. I agree. I do agree with that comment, and you're straight on to the point, and you are correct. But these players are playing for Manchester United. They should be at the top of their game under a world-class elite manager like Erik ten Hag. But what my argument is, if Rashford's not in that team, if Fernandes is in that team, Varane, Sandro Martinez, De Gea, Anthony, Casemiro, Sabitzer, Malacia at times, what's that team got as world-class backups? What's that team got as a world-class backup? It goes silent because we haven't got world-class backups for those players I mentioned if they're not in that team. We don't have the squad depth. We don't have the bench that Man City's got. We don't have the team like Man City's got. That is the level we should be at. That is a type of team we should be. A world-class lineup and a world-class bench. If you put trust in players like Elanga and Fred and McTominay, Delo and Wan-Bissaka, Varane, Maguire and Lindelof, and Tom Heaton, Jack Butland, Weghorst, Sancho, Elanga, what do you do with all them? Because they're not good enough. Those subs made no impact off the bench. I know Ten Hag tried to freshen the team up, but what I didn't agree with was bringing on players that he deep down knew he doesn't want to use. And I still deep down think behind the scenes he's been told what team he can pick. Deep down also think he's been told what players he can and can't use. This is meant to be Erik ten Hag's Manchester United, right? I still feel like the board and the Muppet owners that run this football club into the ground are running things behind the scenes again and determining to the manager, this is the team you pick, these are the players you put on the bench, this is our say, or this is your highway. This is your own funeral. Because if you don't listen, we sack you, we get rid of you. That is my problem. If the Glazers and the owners and the board are still doing that, and they keep tinkering with what Ten Hag wants to do with this team, we are in big fucking trouble. Going forward, we are fucked. We need those owners out this football club by the end of April. Get the Qataris in, let them buy it, and rip this club apart, and let's start again. Get rid of the debt, get rid of half this deadwood, get manager at least 10 to 15 world-class players to put with at least some of that team that has got quality in it. Because we will not get far if you trust the wrong players. Tonight it showed in the second half. Again, we haven't got any depth off that bench. They didn't add really any quality from that second half when Rashford got the goal. And he took his goal well. But the opportunity he then gets before that in front of goal, and he absolutely skies it. It's because the ball took a bobble on the pitch. And Rashford's thinking he's going to put this in. The ball has gone miles over the fucking goal, mostly miles over the Sainsbury's car park, because that is how far the ball did go over the bar. Rashford should be burying that. I'm sorry, no bobble on the pitch or not. You put that in the net. But I'm glad he took his goal, because at least we got a goal tonight and we won the game. At least this doesn't end in a 0-0 draw and Man United have been slated. But I still think there is improvement needed long-term for this club to be able to achieve what Ten Hag is looking for. He is looking for consistency. He is looking for perfection. Some of those players do not have perfection. And some of those I still think are learning to be teachers pet FC, because they want to be able to be, pick me every week. Let's pick me. Give me a chance. Well, I'm sorry. You're not going to get chances under Ten Hag if you play like that. Because that second half, Man United took their foot off the gas. They really, really did. We should have found more goals to bury Real Betis. That team was there for the taking in the second half. We go 1-0 up. You should have gone for it. And that's the problem. If you don't go for it, we have got concerns and issues going forward of this team. We really, really do have issues. And I want Manchester United to be able to recognise they have still got problems that still need to be fixed. And if you get those problems fixed, games against teams like that, Man United will win well, and they will win well great as well. We have got this team to be able to do something special with, because we've got the manager to do it. We've got probably our best form we've had in years. This is our best manager we've had, in my opinion, since the days of Sir Alex Ferguson, because Ten Hag is taking us back to the top. We've already won the trophy. I want to be able to see this team out the Europa League and the FA Cup now. This is about this team long-term being able to put the trust in their own game and trusting the players around them, because some of these players, I still feel like they try to do their job on their own. They still try and go for glory and have their name up in lights, that they want to be able to be in the papers in the next morning and be in the media that they got the goal to clinch Man United's victory. Without Rashford's goal tonight, that win doesn't happen. The goal he took is an absolute great goal, and the way the bend and the curl he put on it to go to the Real Betis bottom right-hand corner. That is what I like about Marcus Rashford. He goes for the impossible. He makes the impossible possible. And he gets his goal tonight, and he's taken it very, very well. And hopefully Marcus Rashford can keep up this form now, because in the last few games, he has scored a blank. And that is still a worry long-term, because if Marcel is still out injured, and I don't know how long he's going to be out injured for, we need Marcel back as an option. Are we going to see Marcel in a Man United shirt ever again? I don't know. At this point, coming end of season, he's going to be gone, because he's going to be told, you're injury prone, you can't keep yourself fit, and you hardly feature for this club. He'll be told he's gone in the summer anyway. But if Marcus Rashford gets injured, this club is in big, big trouble. We cannot afford to lose half this team, because half this team are making this team click. Do the sensible thing in the next few games. We need to start being brutally honest about where this team lays in the Eric Ten Hag plans. And I feel like if I'm a fan, which I am, I love this football club. I've got massive, massive support on this channel through my moderators and other United fan base. I feel like some of us need to sit down with Eric Ten Hag and tell him, look, players like Lindelof and Maguire, Luke Shaw, Diego Dalot, Wan-Bissaka, McTominay and Fred, Elanga, Sancho, Martial, Eric Bailly, Phil Jones, Twan Sabi, Alex Telles, Tom Heaton, Jack Butland. They cannot be part of the plans next season. If some of that dead wood, and Phil Jones is in that as well, not playing next season, are no longer at this football club. I do not want to see players like that in a United shirt. They're not good enough, because those players should not be featuring anyway for this club if they're not good enough. If you can find 10 to 15 world-class players in the summer when the Qataris do take over, and hopefully they do, I do feel like this football club will be back to the dominance it once saw. The Europa League is now winnable. We can win this Europa League if we keep playing well. If we can beat teams we know we can beat, and we can put performances in over 2 legs like we saw against Real Betis, Man United should win the Europa League comfortably. But you've got to start recognising Fred's going to be a liability. Maguire and Lindelof are liabilities. Elanga, Sancho, Weghorst, they are liabilities. And I get why some of them are featuring, because, you know, you've lost Donny van der Beek and Eriksen to both to injury. Martial is still injured. Anthony's out through illness again. Garnacho is also out injured, which is a massive, massive fucking blow to this club long term, that we've lost Garnacho as well. And we're praying that Garnacho is back very, very soon from this injury he's picked up. But that's already another attacking option that we could have done with tonight. I feel like if Garnacho would have been available, I do feel like, in my opinion, Garnacho probably would have started the game. I do feel like he probably would have played tonight, and he probably would have started up front with Rashford and Pellistri. And, you know, shout out to Pellistri as well. I mean, I've not seen much of Pellistri, but I'm starting to get convinced even more now that, you know, Pellestri's got something. Pellistri is also in my man of the match participation with the other two. Pellistri tonight adds so much dynamic, versatile ability on that right wing. He's got the speed, he's got the ability, he's got the pace to be able to break down that right wing and create chances. His speed is something Real Betis really struggled with tonight. And I recognised that. I felt like Pellistri, and I'm giving him my man of the match award as well, with Rashford and also with Sabitzer, because, you know, Pellistri tonight, he makes things happen. He makes things tick. He makes things click. And I don't see that in Sancho. I don't see that in Elanga. I don't see that in Martial. I don't see that on Weghorst. Pellistri can make things happen that others can't. And he was absolutely scaring and terrifying that Real Betis back four. He was absolutely scaring them into their own pants, because they couldn't cope with Pellistri running at them. They couldn't cope with the ability Pellestri's got in his game. And yes, he shouldn't have picked up that booking. I completely agree with Robbie Savage that Pellistri shouldn't have even been booked tonight, because he didn't even make a stupid tackle. It's not even worth a yellow card, and I completely agree with that. But Pellestri's one for the future. This kid has got to be given more game time. Does that include not playing Anthony? I mean, that's something that's got to be added into the equation. Does Anthony feature more, that now Pellestri's taking his game to the next level? Because tonight, I thought he was brilliant. I thought he was probably one of Man United's influential players. I thought, you know what? This kid has got the game to be able to take it to the next level. And that is what I love about Pellistri. He's got something that can make things happen. Out of a click of an eye, he can make things happen that this team needs. He can just make it happen without us even knowing. And I thought, you know, that is something I want to see in that player, that Pellistri has got the game to take it up there. He can be up there with Anthony. He can be up there with Rashford if he keeps playing like that. And that is why I've given Pellistri and Rashford and Sabitzer my man of the match award tonight. I've given it to 3 players. I usually just do 2, but I felt like as a whole, those 3 players tonight changed that game for Man United. They knew what the task was. They knew what they had to do. And they put in the performance that we all could be very, very proud of. I really, really thought, you know, those players tonight, without them, and massive shout out to Terry in the chat as well, it was world class. Those 3 were world class tonight. I could not, you know, beat around the bush tonight. That those 3 tonight were absolutely world class players. Absolutely world class, phenomenal potential that this team and these players have got. They have got the potential to be able to take as world class players. And Terry in the chat, congratulations to you. I've given out my 4th managing moderator on the channel. You are now a managing moderator on the channel. Congratulations to you on the channel. And great comment as well. You're now a managing moderator on the channel. We're starting to build this channel now. I'm giving away free moderator subscriptions for the future. But massive shout out to Terry, who's become a manager moderator in the chat tonight. So yeah, I think Rashford, Sabitzer, and Palestri get a man of the match award tonight. So we're through to Europa League quarterfinals. That's really, really good. That's a quarterfinal in our next two cup competitions. FA Cup at the weekend, Europa League quarterfinals to come up as well. This club is heading towards a positive direction. This club is heading towards what could be a terrific end of the season now. This team needs to push itself. Ten Hag needs to push these players, and those players need to push themselves, because if you can produce football like that over two legs, we can win more trophies. This team has got it in them to take their game to the next level, and I'm really, really proud that we've got the win tonight. I did not want this to end in a draw. I really, really didn't want this to end in a draw and it being 0-0, even though we were 4-1 up on aggregate. I'm just happy we've got the win tonight. And please keep subscribing to the channel if you're new, by the way. We are so close to 520 subscribers, so please subscribe to the channel and to the community if you're new. So enjoyed the reaction. Remember to hit the like button, hit the share button. Please subscribe to United Red Devils 20 on YouTube if you are new. Remember to share the video, hit the tweet button, hit the retweet button, then to put the notification bell at all times to receive brand new content notifications of brand new gaming, previews, match reactions. We've got more Fortnite, Hogwarts Legacy, Kingdom Hearts 4, F1 2023. We've got FIFA 23 career mode with Salford City, LAFC and Manchester United. Disney Dreamlight Valley as well. We've got many more brand new games coming up as well. Who do you think we'll get in the summer? I have absolutely no idea. I don't know what the transfer plans are, but I think it's Osman, a world-class centre-back, world-class midfielder, and a right-back and a goalkeeper. That's what I think is going to happen this summer. So thanks for tonight, guys. Manchester United are through to the UEFA Europa League quarterfinals. I don't know who we're going to get in Europa League. I honestly do not know who we're going to get in Europa League. I have no clue who we're going to get. It's probably going to be someone quite difficult, but, you know, that's Man United. Always seem to be given a difficult quarterfinal draw. But let's see what happens tomorrow. We'll be live tomorrow afternoon for the UEFA Europa League quarterfinal draw, for the Champions League quarterfinal draw, and we'll also be live for the UEFA Europa Conference League quarterfinal draw as well. We're going to be live tomorrow afternoon for all three of those draws: Europa Conference League, UEFA Europa League, and UEFA Champions League. Thanks for joining me this evening. We're through to the Europa League quarterfinals. Manchester United are in the Europa League quarterfinals, thanks to Marcus Rashford's goal to win 5-1 on aggregate over two legs of the last 16 of the 2022-2023 Europa League. Join me for all three of those draws tomorrow, and also please join me then for the preview of the FA Cup game against Fulham on Sunday evening. Tomorrow evening will be live for the Fulham Manchester United preview for the FA Cup quarterfinals. Please join me for that. Stay safe, be nice, and be kind to each other. You're all legends. You're all legendary. Speak to you guys soon. Man United and Europa League quarterfinals. Come on, United. Come on, you Reds. Man United Europa League quarterfinalists. Thanks for watching.